My question is about blessing of the energy centers. I connected with my heart, and it was very profound experience. And I thought, okay, this has got a lot of love coming up. It was just profound to me. And I learned from someone, another teacher, that while each chakra center has their own purpose, brain, etc., they all actually have a sharing of each one. I thought, well, if I've got this much going on here, I'm just going to check everything else out. So
you checked under the hood?
Yes.
All right.
In each one, and I've been doing that since. And in addition to really the beauty of each chakra, it's just amazing, like in their own right, or their own purpose. The love part is extraordinary to me, and I don't know what my question is, but I guess part of it is that it's sometimes so big, I guess this is what it is, it's been challenging to just stay with it. And
you mean the love is so intense that your cup runneth over?
Well, I think physically I'm having kind of a challenge to stay there, and I just kind of leave, and then I try to come back, and I leave.
Where do you leave to? What do you mean you leave? You mean you just go back to mundane thinking just so you don't have to feel? Is that what you're saying?
It is probably mundane thinking, yeah.
All right, well, let's have a conversation about this. How does that sound?
Thank you.
First of all, I'm just not into the chakra name, just because it conjures up images that are based on limitation for me. I just would rather call them something else, and I call them energy centers because it keeps people away from association so they don't shut down like, oh, I'm not into that. People do that. But if you make it really contemporary and use science as the language, everybody can relate that they have these things in their bodies. So it's not just this, wild pattern within patterns, and people go, well, I can't even sit with my legs like that, so that's not going to work for me. People have unconscious associations with the energy centers when they're called chakras. So I use the word energy center just so that everybody can relate to them. Now, I teach the blessing of the energy centers in this way because I want energy to move up a channel very freely in your nervous system. And as energy moves up that central axis of your spine, the electrical charges that are moving up down that fiber optic cable actually produce a tube of light. And that tube of light has been called the prana tube by yogis for thousands of years. And the prana tube is more light when there's more energy and a greater frequency moving up and down. Are you with me still? And everything we do, see that body over to the right? There's frequencies that are associated with each one of those energy centers. And there's nothing wrong with those energy centers. They just have to be in balance, in coherence, in order. Now, we teach this way so that the body can produce light and energy, emit more information, so that when you create and you sit down to do it, it's a natural reflex. You're priming your body this whole week for this to become more natural. And I took a ride with one of my friends from the airport, and she's having these spontaneous mystical experiences. I didn't do anything. Of course you're not doing anything. You've done enough. And when the soul is finally getting over the past, and we have people in this work that have had turbulent, abusive pasts, and the only thing they want to do is get over it. And when you get over it, all of a sudden the soul goes, boy, do I have a surprise for you. Just keep going, and I'm just going to arrange some really fun stuff. And so it becomes a natural side effect. We're priming the body, we're priming a pump, we're making different blocks. You don't think that there's memory stored in those brains, just like memory stored in this brain, that you have to shake loose. You don't think there's emotions stored in the body that need to implicit be released. And people start doing this work, and all of a sudden that energy starts to move, and there goes 25 years of guilt right up into pure energy into their brain, and their abdomen is contracting, and all of the body is releasing. It's not something they can stop it if they want to, but why would you want to? And when they keep relaxing and surrendering into it, it turns into joy. It turns into freedom. It turns into bliss. It turns into gratitude. It turns into grace. They're free. Body's no longer living as a 5-year-old kid or a 9-year-old kid. The conscious memory is not there, but it's in the body. And the body all of a sudden releases it, and now the soul goes, woof, we're free, let's go. And all of a sudden the side effect of it is mystical moments, just inappropriate sometimes. You have a roommate, or you're in the grocery store, or you're at a party and you're dancing, and the next thing you know, you're wah, you know. But let me tell you, who knows what enlightenment looks like in this room? You think it looks a certain way? It can happen in any way. So the blessing of the energy centers are contact points. When I have digestive problems because I'm eating at night when I should be eating in the day and I'm on the wrong time zone, I sit up and I only have a few minutes. Where do I go? I go right to my third center, and I work with it. It's my aspirin. It's my digestive enzyme. It's what I do. If I notice that my throat is getting a little bit sore and it's closing down because I've been talking a lot, or it's starting to feel like it's hoarse or whatever, I'll get on the plane, I'll put my blindfolds on, and I'll go right in that fifth center and I'll tune in and I'll just receive until I'm pleased or satisfied with the effort. If I'm laying down before I want to go to bed and I want to have a mystical or wacky dream, I'll sit up for a period of time and I'll just focus on my sixth center. Why the hell not? Now, they're just entry points in the body. As we get better at this, as we do more of this, as people can sit for extended periods of time, as they master this level, we're going to be doing stuff like that. And the pineal gland meditation is an example of being able to localize a portal, a door into one mystical moment. And yet, when the pineal gland gets activated because the energy moves all the way up, don't you know when energy starts moving up into these centers, energy is moving through these individual brains? Are you with me still? And come on.
Yeah. Yes.
And if it strikes the pineal gland is going to influence the next center called the pituitary. Then the pituitary is going to influence the pineal, and the pineal is going to influence the thyroid. And of course, the vasopressin slows down metabolism. Your body slows down in time, moves more into the present moment. So there's a downward causation of changes in chemistry and hormones because they are interrelated. Does that make sense? So there's sometimes I use my second center. I use it when I'm listening to my staff a lot of times tell me all the problems that are going on and all the breakdowns and all that stuff, and I just start tuning into my gut. What does my gut tell me? No, I don't want to do that. Well, that's the best choice. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm just trusting my gut. I tune in and it's saying, don't do it. But how would you know when your gut speaks to you unless you had a little attention on it and had a relationship with it and were able to interact with it? Are you with me still? So then you can use these. You could sit down and do it. Just pick one. And if it's a body part area that where you're having imbalance or whatever, and you want to speed up your thyroid or slow your thyroid down or whatever the hell you want to do, hold on to a symbol in your mind and tune in to the frequency that's going to begin to affect the chemistry. And we have had people do this, and they got really good at it. They were able to control the hormonal function that's not under the control of the conscious mind. It's under the control of the subconscious mind and the autonomic nervous system. And that used to be left to yogis, you know, people that were spiritual beings that were living in caves, and that's just not the time any longer. The time now is that you and I have to be able to do that, and it just takes practice. It just takes a little practice, and the more you practice it, the better you get at it. So you're entering different parts of your body through different doors, and certain doors are closed for people. And for a lot of people, that fourth center is closed. It's closed because we shut it down when we were kids because we were embarrassed or humiliated or made fun of or traumatized in some way. And you say, well, I figured this out. That's not going to open up again. And so then the body is closing down because we have one or two experiences, and then all of a sudden, here we go. We're no longer the innocence of a child. We're no longer free. And people don't understand this, but when I've seen it happen in that walking meditation. I've stood beside men. I've stood beside them struggle. I've watched them struggle, 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 and yet their intent to open that center, they stuck with it, and in 1 second, a flood of tears uncontrollable sadness that has shut that center down is being released. And that person is healing in that moment. He is healing. He goes back into his life. He gets a vision and it's gone. His disease is gone. His body is out of the past. There's no right or wrong way to do this. We're just setting up a structure for you to get good at something so that we can start improvising and getting a little bit more loose and a little bit more free. But imagine me 10 years ago trying to get people to become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, and no time. And everybody's telling me how spiritual or how there's somebody, someone, something, somewhere, and sometime. And they can't sit still, and they're checking their watches, and they're not paying attention. They have no attention span. I got to start really, really, really basic. And I got to start with putting your attention on your nose in space, and then becoming aware of the space around your head, and everybody hates me for that. And yet, for a lot of people, it's made significant changes in their brain, their heart, and everything else. And so we're building a model. And I do my best. We have 50% or so of the people in this audience, 45% of the people in this audience that have been to an advanced workshop or an advanced follow-up, and I want to make it exciting and fresh and new for them. But at the same time, I have people that have done a progressive online or a progressive with me personally, and this is a lot of content and a lot of information. So I don't want to lose anybody. I want to move everybody at once. When I wake up in the morning, I think I gotta make sure that everybody gets it. I gotta make sure that everybody understands it on some level. And then I watch, and then I see where it's not moving, and then I tell a story or give an example or do something to try to move it again. But once we get good at this, and we're getting really good at it, I am so pleased. I am so pleased with the way you're doing. You are doing so well. We are on a trajectory here. And every time we do it, and you relax into it more, and it gets a little easier, and yeah, your analytical mind turns up every now and then, and you settle it down, and you get past it, and you don't get stuck there. That's the point. I've worked sometimes, I'm thinking this is the worst meditation, and all of a sudden, it goes away, and I have the most profound moment, and it was because I persevered. And that's what you're doing. And as I said the other night, you could be falling asleep on the plane. You know how many people in this work, when they had their post-brain scan after the pineal gland meditation, closed their eyes and went out of body or went dimensional, and we just happened to capture it? They said, I just relaxed. I didn't do anything, I didn't expect anything, I just relaxed, and the fireworks happened. It could happen to you at any moment when you're half between wakefulness and sleep. And when we do the kaleidoscope and finish this day, I want to catch you somewhere between there. I want you to be theta and groggy and awake and just listening to me and opening your eyes and closing your eyes. And let's get some new information in there, new imagery in there, and just drop it in. Just keep dropping it in, and you keep thinking about it and dropping it in. Sooner or later, you're going to start having those associations and those experiences. So for me, I hit it as many ways as I can, as many ways I could think of to bring it in so that people are not bored by redundancy in so many ways. We keep changing it up. We keep making it easier. We keep simplifying it. We keep adding new things so that people begin to discover the mystery of themselves. And that's all I really want. So play with it. And when the love gets too much, move it into your throat and express it. That's what it's there for. And then once you express it, it'll move into your pineal gland, and all of a sudden, you'll start seeing things with your eyes open. But you better be ready for that. Because when you're seeing things with your eyes open, there's a very fine line between, psychosis and reality. And you just go easy there.